I don't fear anything anymore. Like, nah, I'm over that. A girl from Manchester once told me you either squat for 2 weeks, 2 months, or forever. So there's some people who just do it for 2 weeks and they can't handle it, that's it. The people who, need to get tided over between places, whatever, 2 months, yeah. But it is different when you actually start identifying with this scene and this lifestyle. Because the reason that people squat is usually because they cannot handle the actual system that is in place. In a life like that, you do not have a fixed routine. You can just do whatever, which is great if you're on it, but if you're not on it, then you just vegetate, for example. You just, stay in your room and that's it. So there's that aspect. There's people who are outright manipulative. There's people who take advantage of others. There's sexual assault, there's violence, there's drugs, etc. Anything you can imagine, just because this is a lifestyle, an environment where basically anything is possible on the social level, because it is not regulated. I'm Sophia. I'm originally from Germany. In Hamburg, I did government job training. I got burnout, then they got me therapy for it. And then I got to London, and I knew I couldn't live this way. I couldn't just keep working, etc. I know I looked up at one point how to be homeless in London, and the ASS came up, the Advisory Service for Squatters. So I knew about squatting, that it was a thing. And then I just stumbled into people that connected me to it. So it was a half choice, is how I would put it maybe, this lifestyle. And then I just fell in love with it because it's a good lifestyle. Having the luxury of being able to just literally do whatever I want with my day from a day-to-day basis, where I don't have to plan more ahead than a week, because what I'm doing every day is just working on what I'm gonna do every single day for the rest of my life. Being able to follow my interests to such a degree that I am able to build a life like that, that is invaluable, and that is why I would not leave squatting. I do not have a financial support network. I've not had an income since I got to London. In the 2 years, I've made maybe £500 with a bit of tarot, a bit of stick and poke tattoo here and there. I do not rely on money. I don't pay rent, obviously. The only expenses I have is my phone bill, my data, that's £20 a month. I can rack that up. And food, I just eat from the trash. We go skipping, that's pretty much it. So when we got in here, life was just getting furniture, setting up the actual physical space, and then afterwards moving more into the sort of social dynamics and figuring out how to actually live with each other. You can see the corner here, at some point, the Italians wake up and blast their techno for a bit around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. That's when the day really gets started. Everyone's got a different day rhythm. One of the few things that gives you sort of a rhythm is if there's a party on the weekend or a concert or something. That's something you focus on. But the actual Monday to Friday is sort of you just move through it, which is quite pleasant because then you don't have to compartmentalize too much. But I wake up in the morning and I have a vague sense of what day of the week it is, maybe, but it doesn't factor into actual lived reality, basically. A lot of squat life is actually kind of not coordinated, but led by music. That you notice that a lot. If there's no music, people just sit around. When you get music on and people start doing things, so it's more of a luxury, high up on the list, but speakers are, when it comes to actual squat life, not just living and building life, speakers would be very high up because people are on it with the music, obviously. Having an oven is a luxury, but we have a microwave oven, so that's cool. You don't even need sort of an electric shower. If there's no shower facilities, you just get the 5-liter water bottles and do bottle shower. There's very, very few essentials if you know how to use your resources to, get to what you need. what it is like to live as a squatter is so many things. You've got the homesteading thing, you have people who teach each other and themselves the practical skills to run an entire community or an entire house with logistics included of how to coordinate people in meetings, how to get food, how to fix up things, how to set up spaces. That is one part. Then you have a lot of creative people around who have the skills and often also the resources, because if you don't pay rent, you are able to save up money. So you have money to spend on good computers, you have money to spend on bass, guitar, etc. There's a lot of just instruments making around in the scene just because people are able to invest in it. And the squatting scene is a lot of things. The squatting scene is also a lot of paranoia and hard drugs, so I'm not going to mince words there. And people die all the time in these sort of situations. There's also something that hits the community, etc. And at one point, we took in a mother and her daughter who were getting evicted from their renting situation after living there for 15 years or something. And they just knew someone who knows someone who lived with us, and they were 10 minutes down the road. And it was COVID, and they were getting evicted. And they were, giving us a bit of furniture, so it was just chill. And they moved in with us with a 16-year-old daughter. And we told her quite a number of times that is not a good environment for a 16-year-old girl. It's an intense living situation, a lot of shouting, a lot of, there is violence there. People do, threaten each other and that stuff. I was sleeping and suddenly I hear like this really shrill screaming, and it just won't stop. Like the girl just keeps screaming. And then I go downstairs to see what's up, and people just go, Saffron's died. And it's just, yeah. The girl hung herself, and that's still something I'm, processing. So I'm. When a violent death like that happens, it's just different. It just shifts everything. It's hard to put your finger on it because there are so many people involved and there's so many personal layers to it because everyone handles death differently, especially something that, is like that, a 16-year-old girl. Like I related to her so much, and then the one thing that I personally as a teenager was always thinking about, and then it just happens in front of me in my home. She's 16, she comes into a scene like that, it's a lot. Like I had trouble adjusting when I got here. You look at the council and politicians, they misunderstand the same things. They misunderstand with renting is, that people need shelter and that you can't just, kick them out. Like evictions affect everyone, not just squatters, so that's, but squatters are the ones that are more like in the public eye for it. Someone gets evicted down the road from a renting situation, it's not going to make the news, If I'm not mistaken, the right to squat comes from medieval laws that are, you have a right to live somewhere, and if there's a place that, you're able to occupy, you can live there. We do not have a right to sort of claim the property as our own. Like, it does not belong to us, we are occupying it. What do I dream about? Utopia? Being the one to create utopia or being a part of that. So that's the big dream, just change the entire world. From the halls of power to the fortress town, not a soul will be left unstoned. Let the king beware, for your justice tears every tyrant from his throne. The hungry poor shall feed no more on the food they can never earn. There are tables spread, every mouth be fed, for the world is about to turn. My heart shall sing of the day you bring, let the fire of your justice burn.